हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगताम् अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तः पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वतीपतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। So Bhagwan is describing the different aspects of karma, like jnana, karma, karta, buddhi, dhriti. And now Bhagavan is describing the result which comes in the form of sukha. And that sukha is also experienced at different levels. At the lowest level, it's tamasic sukha, then rajasic sukha, sattvic sukha. And sukha also depends on the purity of the antakarana. When the antakarana is absolutely pure, then we experience sattvic sukha. When the antakarana is little malin, impure, then we experience rajasic sukha. And when it is very dull, then one experiences tamasic sukha. So Bhagavan described that sattvic sukha is one which destroys all sorrow, and one revels in that sukha through abhyas. And it is in the beginning, it is experienced as poison, very difficult. But once we practice to attain jnana, vairagya, dhyana, samadhi, and as our antakarana becomes more and more pure, like a clean water, then one experiences supreme joy. Amrutopamam, the result of this attaining this sattvic sukha through all this sadhana, one experiences that nectar like bliss. So tat sukham sattvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. And this sukha is the result of atma buddhi prasad. When the buddhi has the knowledge of the atma, and that gives that extreme purity to that buddhi, and in that buddhi gets reflected the great joy of the self. So atma buddhi prasadajam. So it's the innermost inner joy, the joy of our own self, which is experienced without any obstruction of the rajogun and tamogun, when the antakarana has become absolutely pure. Now in the following words, Bhagavan is describing the rajasic sukha. So let us chant verse number 38. Vishayendriya sanyogat yattadagre mrutopamam pariname vishamiva tat sukham rajasam smritam. Bhagavan says, this rajasam sukham, this rajasic sukha, is one characteristic of it is that in the beginning, when one pursues this sukha, immediately one experiences great joy, great pleasure. Amrutopamam, it appears like the joy of nectar. It is felt as though the joy of nectar. But the result of this sukha, ultimate result, is pariname vishamiva, is experienced as poison. So in the beginning one experiences great pleasure, but it concludes with a lot of sorrow, pain. It's like poison only. So how is this sukha attained? Bhagavan says, Vishaya Indriya Sanyogat. This is experience when our indriyas come in contact with the respective objects, Vishaya. See, this world vast world which we see in front of us, which is made up of the 5 great elements, Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi. This world is experienced through our 5 senses as Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. And all the objects and all that we experience in this world through the senses are nothing but the combination of the Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Nothing more than that. That itself is experienced as joy or sorrow, pain, suffering. It has got its own reaction on our antakkarana. When we experience this world, our antakkarana reacts to it. So because of this reaction, different types of emotions are created. Also, when we interact with the world and with the help of various pramanas, we also gain appropriate knowledge of this world. Sometimes we gain proper knowledge, sometimes we gain all confusing ideas about the world. So, pramana, viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra, smritihi, these 5 types of vrittis gets created when one interacts with this world. And depending on the quality of these vrittis, whether they are sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, one experiences the different levels of joy or sorrow. Also, it depends on our samskars, our vasanas, our tendencies, our knowledge, our faith, our sadhana which we have done, our quality of our vairagya, and the various other qualities. So all these factors are go into play when we experience the various joys and sorrows in this world. So the main thing is when our senses come in contact with the sense objects of our liking, of our which conducive to our vasanas, conducive to our desires. When we come in contact, we experience great pleasure. Like that day I gave the example of eating the pizza. So I have this desire to eat pizza. I have the what you call the samskar, the vasanas, the past experiences, and that desire creates a restlessness in the mind. I become very restless, and that desire make me pursue that path by which I can fulfill that desire. So with lot of struggle, lot of pain, finally when I acquire that pizza, and when my senses come in contact with that, my tongue, my nose, my eyes, my ears, my skin, when it comes in contact with that object and I start indulging in that object, it gives me instant pleasure. But if I continue with that, it comes to an end, because one cannot keep on eating. It comes to an end, so that pleasure also comes to an end. Also depending on the quality of that objects and all, it has got its own effect on my body, my mind, and which also causes lot of pain and sorrow. So this is true for all objects. No doubt, when one interacts with the object, one experiences that pleasure, that joy, that sukha. So from where does this sukha come? Even if we are experiencing Rajasic sukha, from where is it coming? See, there are main three factors involved. I am there, the object is there, and the interaction with the object is there. So I am there, the object like the pizza, and eating, that interaction. So where is that sukha coming? It is not coming from me because I am unhappy, I am restless, I am having the desire, so I want to fulfill it. So I am not feeling happy. So is it coming from that pizza? That also cannot be true, because all people do not get happiness with that. Some people who like it, they feel happy. Those who don't like, they don't feel happy. So is it coming from the interaction? It is not coming from interaction also, because if it was coming, I could have continued eating, but after eating for some time, I stopped getting that joy. ऐसे बहुत हो गया, अभी नहीं खाना है. So it is neither coming from me, the enjoyer, nor is it coming from the object, nor is it coming from the interaction from that object. But we are experiencing that joy. And if we analyze our experience, when we are in deep sleep state, in deep sleep also we experience a happiness which we express when we wake up. We say, I slept very happily. So in deep sleep there was no object which was giving me happiness. There was no I. The one who is awake now, was not present in deep sleep, and there was no interaction with the object, but still I had experienced that happiness. So that happiness is the very nature of my Supreme Self, which is present in everything. That self is present in the object, in the interaction, in me, in everything. So that alone gets expressed in some way in our antakarana. When we obtain that object of our desire, for a fraction of a second, the mind becomes calm, peaceful, because no new desire has come. This desire has got fulfilled. So for a second, the mind becomes very calm, peaceful, one experiences great joy. But very next moment, again the mind starts becoming restless, and one that joy disappears. So this is a Rajasic Sukha which comes through our interaction with the world outside, through our senses. So the Sukha of seeing nice things, hearing good words, music, etc., then touching, comfort at the level of our skin, smelling fragrant things, and what you call eating. So through this we gain that Rajasic Sukha, which appears to be like Amrut in the beginning for a short time, but the result is like poison only. Shankaracharya ji in his commentary, he says why it is like poison. He says कि बल वीर्य रूप प्रज्ञा मेधा धन उत्साह हानि हेतुत्वात्, that when one indulges into this sense pleasure, one becomes more and more addicted to this type of pleasures. Because we want to be happy and we want to be permanently happy. So when we interact with the objects, we feel happy and we want it to last forever. So we continue interacting and indulging with different objects. When one object stops giving me pleasure, I run after another object. When it stops giving me pleasure, I go after another object. So I become Vishayi. I go after one object, I run from one object to other objects. And when I start deriving pleasure from object, I get more and more attached to the object, become more and more dependent, become more and more addicted. And if somebody tries to take that object away from me, I become angry, restless, irritable. Even when the object is there with me, I am frightened that I hope nobody takes it away from me. So that object can be just any object or even some person, place. People are attached to people, people are attached to places. So in this way, one gets that Rajasic joy, but in the bargain, one loses so many things. So what does one lose? Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, Bala. One loses the strength. Even the senses start becoming weaker and weaker. You keep indulging in listening, seeing, hearing, tasting. The senses start becoming weaker. As we grow also old, the senses start becoming weaker. We stop hearing as effectively as we were hearing before. Our sense of taste also goes down. In the beginning we used to get that sweetness in 1 chammach of sugar, but now we require 4-5 chammach. Our sense of smell also goes down. So the indriyas become weak. Also the body becomes weak, because body maintenance of the body depends on the food and all, but when overindulgence happen, it spoils the strength of that body. Overindulgence is not good. At optimum level, when we eat, drink, etc., one can nourish the body properly. But when one starts indulging, it spoils the health. So the bala, virya, the strength, the inner strength of this body, also we lose. Then rupa, too much of indulging in this sense pleasure, we spend our energy of our body, our senses, our mind. So all that glow and that beauty which is there in the body, that also start disappearing. Person start becoming old, sometimes early. So rupa also goes away. Then prajna, our intelligence, our prajna. So one who spends more time in indulging in pleasures, the power of that buddhi to comprehend, to understand, becomes weaker and weaker. Hmm. This also we see. Person who is very addicted, addiction we can see vividly, but even indulging in various sense pleasure is also like addiction only. So person becomes dull, cannot take proper decisions, cannot comprehend things properly, just lives like a person who is hypnotized, indulging in only pleasure, not having a sublime, superior goal in life. Khao, piyo, mauj karo, that alone that person understands, doesn't understand anything subtler in life. So prajna also goes away. Then medha. Medha is the power to comprehend. When we even listen to the Shastra, it is the Medha Shakti with which we can understand what the teacher is saying. If one has spent too much of time in pleasures, then Medha Shakti also goes down. We don't understand. We get confused. Simple things also we don't understand. Even one simple thing we have to be told 10 times, then we slowly start understanding. So our Medha Shakti also goes down. Then Dhana, a person indulging in pleasures, he also spends lot of wealth. Money goes in pleasures only, not in dana, not in dharma karya, not in something positive. All the time spending money only for little pleasures of life. So dhana, then utsaha, even the enthusiasm to live, enthusiasm to walk the right path, enthusiasm to attain the sublime goal, enthusiasm to do one's kartavya karma, enthusiasm to do the various sadhana, all this enthusiasm also gets depleted. Person doesn't have any enthusiasm. क्योंकि इतना indulgence is there that so much of dullness comes in his life. सूख जाता है पूरा. So विषय इंद्रिय संयोगात यत्तद अग्रे अमृतोपमम. So this rajogun, rajasic sukha, agre in the beginning, amrutopamam. As soon as the senses touch the objects, we get great joy. So that attraction is there for such people. Instantly I feel happy. Why should I do this sadhana? Why should I do japa, tapa, upvas? Why should I meditate? Because we don't get happiness immediately. Only a promise is there that in future you will get happiness. But here in Rajogun, Rajasic, what you call joy, it is instantaneous. But pariname vishamiva. But always the result, the outcome is like poison only. Because it doesn't last. Even the perfect contact of senses and the object, it gives only a temporary joy. Then it starts giving sorrow, pain, trouble. So one imagines, one starts building different types of fantasies in the mind of indulging in this pleasure, and then works towards it and gets those pleasures. But after some time all his fantasy goes away, all his dreams gets broken, all the imaginary things which he had superimposed on those objects disappear. The ugly nature of all these pleasures come in front of that person, feels dejected, depressed, disillusioned, sorrowful, unhappy. So the result of Rajasic Sukha is like poison. But in the beginning, it appears to be giving joy like that of Amrit. Okay? And also, Shankaracharya writes, कि when one indulges in this Rajasic pleasure, one also goes on the wrong path because of too much of attachment and addiction. Then one is led into wrong path also. So adharma tad janita narakadi hetutvat. So one walks the path of adharma because the pleasures doesn't get satisfied. The more and more one indulges, the more one wants. It's like fire. The more fuel you put, the more the fire grows. So one with his capacity tries to indulge, then it goes beyond his capacity, then he walks the path of adharma, papa, in order to fulfill his desires. So adharma tad janita narakadi hetutvat, which ultimately leads to naraka only. One reaches hell as a result of following this path of adharma, prompted by his Rajasic tendency and attraction for Rajasic sukha. So tat upabhoga viparinamante visham iva. Therefore the result is like poison only. So this is Rajasic sukha. Now Bhagwan in the next verse, he described the Tamasic sukha. Okay. See, when we know it very clearly, vividly, then we will stay away from this Tamasic and Rajasic sukha and strive to move towards Sattvic sukha only. So what is Tamasic sukha? Bhagavan says, Yadagre chanubandhe cha sukham mohanam atmanah nidralasya pramadotham tattamasamudahritam. Bhagavan says, ki understand tattamasam udaratam. This is called tamasic sukha, which is yad agre cha anubandhe cha, which is sukham mohanam atmana, which is in the beginning as well as in the end. It leads to the confusion of the mind. It involves delusion, confusion. Even when one starts indulging in sukha, tamasic sukha, it dilutes the person. Mohanam atmanaha. Person becomes more and more dull, more and more deluded. And even when the tamasic sukha gets concluded, the dullness continues to be there. See, the sattvic sukha is attained when our antakarana becomes pure like this clean water. Rajasic sukha, when our antakarana is little colored with our desires and passions. But the tamasic sukha is when the whole antakarana becomes dull, totally opaque due to tamogun. So there is total dullness happens. So even when a person begins indulging in this tamasic sukha, the antakarana becomes dull, and even after the indulgence is over, the dullness continues to be there. A person remains dull all the time. So what is that which gives this tamasic sukha? Bhagavan says nidra, alasya, pramada, uttham. This sukha is that which arises from nidra, sleep. Sleep means sleepiness. See, all this sukha, rajasic, tamasic, sattvic are experienced in the waking state. So yet sleep doesn't mean the person has gone to deep sleep and experiencing that sukha, but while awake remains as though asleep, unaware of the surrounding. That dullness is there. So nidra, total unawareness, not aware of himself, not aware of the surrounding, not aware of people, place, like a person as though asleep. Nidra uttham, born out of this nidra. Or alasya, laziness. Laziness also gives rise to that dullness. Laziness means a person knows what he has to do, but he doesn't do it. He just postpones it, doesn't do it, pada hua hai. Or pramad. Pramad means he doesn't even remember what he has to do. In laziness, at least he remembers that I have to do this, but he doesn't do it. Pramad is when that person forgets. So all that interaction which gives rise to this type of attitude. For example, when a person indulges in some in taking some intoxicants. So the more and more he drinks, the more sleepy that person becomes. Sleepy means unaware of the surrounding. Like a person walking in sleep, unaware. So we'll say something, shout, perform some actions, not aware, not conscious of his body, not conscious of his dress, not conscious of his surrounding. This extreme, these are the extreme cases of tamasic joy. But one should understand the different range of this. So nidra. See, when one is in deep sleep, sushupti avastha. Here Bhagavan is not talking about sushupti avastha. The sushupti avastha, when one goes into that sushupta avastha, there is no division of enjoyer, enjoying, enjoyed. That triputi is not there. So Bhagavan is not talking about sushupti avastha here. He is talking about the state when a person is awake but sleepy, or when he knows that he has to do this work, that work, but goes to sleep, doesn't do his work, doesn't get active in his kartavya. So that is that joy which he gets of being dull. See, when it's like a person who, let us say, some cut is there on our body, then we take some painkiller, the cut continues to be there, but the signal from that doesn't reach the brain, and one doesn't feel that hurt. Sometimes we get a severe toothache, intense toothache. Then we take some painkiller. and it stops for some time. Then after some time again it pops up. When the effect of that painkiller goes away, again it comes up. So the cause of that pain has not gone, but the signal doesn't reach the buddhi, the brain. Therefore one doesn't experience that pain. In the same way, in a tamasic person, the sorrow, the pain, the suffering of that person doesn't go away. But he makes the mind as dull as possible through some intoxicant, through drugs, or just being sleepy, lazy, forgetful. So in the dullness, the sorrow, pain, as though is suppressed, is not recognized. So it's a negative sort of joy that person experiences. Absence of pain, absence of sorrow, absence of suffering is experienced for a short time. And as soon as he becomes little bit aware that sorrow comes, so in order to avoid that sorrow, the person tries to remain intoxicated at all times. So sleepiness is also a type of intoxicant. Laziness is also same thing. And this forgetfulness, inadvertence. So nidra, alasya, pramada, uttam. Born out of nidra, alasya, pramad, which makes the person dull, insensitive, unaware, unconscious, as though in the waking itself. So that type of joy, that is also a joy, because there is no sorrow. One doesn't experience the suffering. One becomes Devadas like. But as soon as this person becomes little bit aware, that suffering comes. So he wants to remain dull all the time, remain intoxicated all the time, remain under the influence of some drugs or some intoxicant. So such type of sukha, Bhagavan says, is a tamasic sukha. So these are the three types of sukha, and the combination, permutation, or different proportions of this sukha we experience. Sometimes we also become little dull, sleepy, lazy. But it should not become a trend. It should not become our svabhav. Sleep is also important. Rest is also important. So, as a duty, one should give rest to the body, should give rest to the mind, to the intellect, so that we become fresh to fulfill our duties. However active a person may be, also requires a rest. Therefore, even in a car, there is not only the accelerator which takes the car forward. There are various gears which help in accelerating the car further. But every car will also have a brake, so that we can stop the car, we can shut it down. So similarly, these three gunas are there expressing in everyone, and it has to be expressed utilized properly. But a tamasic person only indulges in tamasic type of activity and indulging in tamasic joy, a rajasic person involves in rajasic joy, but a sattvic person strives to make his antakarana pure and experiences that sattvic joy. So in sattvic joy, we experience the joy of our self in full measure. In rajasic joy, the experience of the self is little clouded. But in tamasic, one experiences absence of the pain and sorrow for some time because of the dullness. So these are the three types of sukha which are the results of karma. So now Bhagwan has given all this, the theory. See, we have seen that this chapter begins with Arjuna's question. Arjuna asked this question about the meaning of the term sannyas and tyaga. So Bhagwan defined these two terms by saying that sannyas means giving up the kamya karma, and tyaga is to give up the attachment to the results of karma while performing our duties, while fulfilling our duties. So yajna dana tapak karma is a general duty for all, which we have to do properly, dedicating to Ishvara, and this purifies our antakarana. Because of the impurity of the antakarana, we get attached to the body, mind, our upadhis, and we also have the false sense of doership. So in order to explain how all the actions are happening in the field of Prakriti only, Bhagwan talked about the 5 causes of action. Adhishthanam tatha karta karanam cha pratak vidam vividhascha pratak cheshtaha daivam chevatra panchamam. The body is required, the karta is required, the karana, the different instruments, then the different activities of the instrument which are expressed through the pancha pranas, and the daiva, the presiding devatas. All actions happen through these 5 causes, but one who transcends this and comprehends his self becomes free of this bondage of karma. Again, Bhagwan talked about the 3 propellers of karma, jnanam, neyam, parijñata, the 3 contents of karma, karanam, karma, karta, and he describes in detail the 3 types of jnanam, karma and karta, sattvic, rajasic and tamasic. And Bhagwan also described the 3 types of buddhi and the 3 types of dhriti and the 3 types of sukha. So all this Bhagwan has described for what? So that we understand, improve ourselves and recognize our kartavya karma and fulfill those kartavya karma properly, so that we progress on our spiritual path, gain that knowledge, gain abidance in that knowledge and become free. So after giving all this theory, Bhagwan now concludes this topic by reminding us of the classification which is done of all human beings into these 4 groups: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So based on our varna, based on our ashrama, based on our gender, we have to recognize our kartavya karma and fulfill them, dedicating them to Ishvara till we gain that purity of our antakarana and gain self-knowledge and gain that abidance in that self-knowledge and become free. So in order to explain these four varnas, which Bhagwan had hinted in the fourth chapter. In the fourth chapter, Bhagwan had said, कि चातुर्वर्ण्यम मया सृष्टम गुणकर्म विभागशः. That I have created these four varnas. Means these four varnas are the expressions of that supreme reality alone. In that supreme reality, the Shakti of that supreme, that Prakriti is Trigunatmika, having these three gunas. And the combination, the different proportions of these gunas express as different qualities in all beings. The gunas themselves express as qualities in all beings. And depending on the qualities, the work is allotted to everyone. Because if we work according to our aptitude, according to our quality, according to the nature of our body, etc., then it will be best for us, so that it will help us to progress on our path, and also to effectively, efficiently work in this world and fulfill our duties. See, everything in nature is an expression of this Prakriti only. And those certain things may look alike, but still if you analyze them deeply, you will find that they are different. For example, even water. If you just take water from different places, from different rivers, different ponds, different lakes, from the groundwater, from wells, and if you look at the water, it will look almost similar. You will say it's a pani hai. But if you analyze that water under proper microscope and all, and do some chemical test, you will find all the waters are different. The water which may appear to be very nice and can be drunk, but if you analyze, you will find, no, it is not proper. That's how we now use filters. We use the different thing to make the water pure. In the good old days, we used to just drink the tap water wherever, but nowadays people are frightened to drink tap water also. Then we drink all those bottled waters. Because if you analyze deeply, you find they are different. Suppose you want to use water for some medical purpose, so they say distilled water. So it should be really distilled. Otherwise it will contaminate the medicine. Recently I told you they have sent a rover on Mars, and they have sent some bottles in which that rover will collect samples of the Martian soil. But these bottles should be absolutely clean, free from all virus and bacteria and everything. It should be absolutely 100% clean. Otherwise you collect the samples and you will find some virus from the earth only there, or some bacteria or something. It should be absolutely clean. For that they had to really work very hard. So similarly, all of us human beings may look alike. although we don't look alike also that much, but we have our body, we have our mind, we have our eyes, ears, nose, we have our gender. But if we analyze deeply, what are we made up of? Means what is this upadhi made up of? This upadhi is made up of gunas of the Prakriti. Prakriti jair gunaihi. And these gunas are three types: sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. So based on our past karmas, we are born in a particular proportion of these gunas. All of us, we have these three gunas, but the proportion of gunas are different in different beings. Some are more sattvic, some are more rajasic, some are more tamasic. So based on these gunas, and based on these gunas, there are these four varnas, and based on the varnas, the different karmas are prescribed to them. This is the general philosophy behind this. So here in the following verses, Bhagwan will describe the karma which a Brahman should do according to his svabhav, the karma which a Kshatriya should do, a karma which a Vaishya does, a karma which a Shudra should do. So that analysis and that instruction is given in the following verses. So it's a very interesting subject, and sometimes very leads to a lot of debates and all. So one has to understand this very properly. We should understand what the Shastra says. Then we should also see how it can be applied in the present scenario. How we can apply this knowledge in those where this varna division is already there, and how we can utilize this knowledge where that varna, ashrama, dharma has disappeared. Like other countries are there, they don't have this system, but still the knowledge which is revealed in Bhagavad Gita can be followed by all people, the entire humanity. It is the knowledge given to the entire humanity. So we will try to understand the significance of these shlokas, and then a lot of interesting topic will come of nididhyasan. So all this we will see in our next class, which we will have on Monday. So we will have a 2 days break, Saturday and Sunday, and we will continue with this topic from Monday. Okay? So till then, you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy. Do your work, do your sadhana, and we shall meet again on Monday. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, 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 श्री राम जय जय राम, 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 जय जय राम जय राम। बोलिए सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। हरिः ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम।